Hello, welcome back to another episode on the Golden Gemz podcast. You're here with your one and only, yours truly, Relly. And hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I wouldn't lie to you. I would be remiss. I repeat, I would be remiss if we didn't get into just about everything that I got planned for you today. Yes. Um, Nolan Wells in this case. To be quite honest with you, it is kind of crazy and wild that at this point, with everything that's going on, with everything that's happening within the media, um, this case in particular, it kind of just makes you just sit back and think like, man, like is this really what our country and is this really where things have come to? That when people just ask simple questions, race becomes an issue. Pointing the fingers become an issue. And to be quite honest with you, with this Nolan Wells case, it's a little different, man. And the reason why I continue to talk about it, the reason why I continue to cover it is because I'm not gonna let this case die out. I'm not gonna let this case die down without us getting answers for Nolan Wells. And I believe his family deserves answers. So today we're gonna get into Nolan Wells, some updates, and his silly. I won't even call it silly. Like at this point, with the interviews and them trying to jump in front of the narrative as much as they are before the grand jury has, been announced, before, the investigation reports and the autopsy and more things have come out about this case, it makes them look kind of guilty, in my opinion. It makes them look guilty. And with them looking guilty, it's like you can't hope, or you can't, I won't say hope, but you can't just sit back and not pay attention to what's really going on. And we're going to get into all that and more. So please, before we get started, you know the drill. You know what we got to do. Run the intro, please. Run the intro.
Hey, we live now, really.
Hold on. We live? Can you see me? Hey, mama! We made it. What's going on, my beautiful people? Did you miss me? Yes, it's yours truly, really, Gemz, coming back at you, man. Today we got a Nolan Wells update coming at you live. Like I said a little bit ago, man, we ain't gonna stop talking about this case, and we gonna continue to talk about this case until I get blue in the face or until Nolan Wells get justice. Because at the end of the day, I believe this case deserve to be in the spotlight. It's also some other cases that deserve the spotlight as well. But this Nolan Wells case, like I told y'all before, this Nolan Wells case hits a little closer to home. This Nolan Wells case really makes me sit back, think about things, and really contemplate. At the end of the day, if I was in his situation as a former athlete, as someone who's been on boats with, other people of the Caucasian ascent, like, to be quite honest with you, like, I just put myself in his shoes. And it's kind of sad and unfortunate that with this case, a family lost their son, and the family who lost their son, they can't even grieve properly because of some of the things and some of the, nonsense that's going on within this case. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it all. We're going to get into it all. And the crazy part is I can't even hear myself talk right now. So I'm going to pop these headphones in, and then we're going to go ahead and really get started. The first video that we got coming up. The first video that we got coming up. Hold on. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we good. But the first video that we got coming up is from our bedroom lawyer. You know how I like to talk to our bedroom lawyer, because our bedroom lawyer stays on people's head tops, and at the end of the day, she don't play about nothing. And she's gonna ask some questions that today we will address here tonight. And to be quite honest with you, it's a lot that we got to get into. It's a lot that we got to talk about. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Bedroom lawyer, come to the front of the congregation, please. Let's talk.
Nolan's case. There are evidentiary wise, there's still a lot of things that we're not privy to, that we're not going to be privy to, that Crump is not going to tip his hand with until actual court. One of those things is the forensic phone data, the Snapchat data. Okay. We don't know. They're not going to tell us that until they go to court. Okay.
And real quick with that phone data, it's been an update about that. And it seems like the Mississippi Department of Jackson County, the sheriff's department in particular in Jackson County, they planned a little bit. But we're going to get into that later on in this video. But continue to watch.
Actual autopsy. As I told you, releasing that preliminary, that's a strategy. We don't actually know what they found. We don't know. So those are two pieces of crucial evidence that we can't really our hands are tied until this goes to court now, because they're not going to give us those pieces of evidence on purpose, because they got to catch them in court lying about that shit. So now it's getting very interesting, because we can only go on what we know. Let's start talking about Nolan's case.
So we can only go on what we know. What we know, the evidence that we have right now, the major evidence and the biggest evidence that we have within this case is that Cito phone call. That Cito phone call, it might either sink the ship that these boys are on, or it might carry the ship that these boys are on. But that Cito phone call, if it is admissible in court and if it can be a part of evidence in court, that might just sink the whole ship. And these boys, they hopped on Brandon Tatum's podcast. Yes, they out here doing podcasts like they just regular folks. And it's not, incriminating in any kind of way. Yeah, lies, it is. They out here incriminating themselves, because anything they say can and will be used against them in a court of law. And what they are saying is just not making too much sense, folks. It's not. Because if I was y'all attorney, I would say ain't nobody been charged. Ain't no evidence been pointed our way, at least by the county or the district. But yet, y'all still going on these podcasts and talk. I would tell my client to be quiet, don't say nothing, not a thing. And to be quite honest with you, it's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. Hold on. Nancy, can you come into the front of the congregation for 2 seconds, please? Thank you.
That the neck, Nolan Wells's neck, may have been retained by the initial medical examiner because the medical examiner cannot tell the difference in a bruise or damage in life, such as a fight, a strangulation. Can't tell that from blood diffusion.
No, Nancy. Nancy, that's not what we're telling you. We're telling you that the medical examiner kept the neck on purpose so that we couldn't rule this case a homicide. And that's their standard operating procedure. That's what we're telling you, Nancy. Thank you. Ma, how long we been sinking?
What she's saying is correct. They keep bringing up the neck, and they kept the neck for a reason. With this whole Nolan Wells case in particular, it gets crazier by the day, because the more and more these boys continue to come out and talk. And today we're going to get into that latest interview. Today we're going to talk about it all. And like I told you, we're going to continue to talk about Nolan Wells. We're going to continue to say his name. We're going to continue to talk about this case until we ultimately figure out what really happened. And that might not come today. That might not come tomorrow. That might not come next week, the week after, next month, next year. But I promise you, it's going to eventually come. And when it does, we're going to be here for it. And we're not saying that those boys are guilty. We're not saying that those boys did anything. But what we're saying is that at the end of the day, Nolan Wells and his family deserves justice. And with Nolan Wells and his family deserving justice, that's what we're waiting on. So without further ado, there's a lot that we got to get into about this case. There's a lot that we got to talk about this case. So let's go ahead, hear from another source. Hear from the the former judge of Mississippi. What you got to say to us, my guy? Talk to us.
Pointing fingers at their friends. A lot of people are pointing fingers at their friends. From your professional opinion, what makes them look guilty?
And this is a former judge in Mississippi, an actual lawyer that is practicing law in the state of Tennessee. This is a former judge who was actually a judge in Mississippi. And he is from Jackson County. So I think he would know how things operate and how business goes out there. Carlos Moore, talk to my people.
I wouldn't say it makes them look guilty, but it definitely makes them look suspicious. The friends did not act as friends normally do. First of all, if you leave your friend back, you're going to know exactly who they stayed with. And from the very beginning, it's been conflicting information. The young lady allegedly was named Katie, and she says allegedly that Nolan told her that he was going back with the friends he came with. And those friends are saying that he stayed back with Katie. So one of those two cannot be the truth. And what we do know is that Katie did not lawyer up initially. I don't think she still has lawyered up, but we were told that the so-called friends lawyered up initially. They deactivated their social media, maybe scrubbed some of their social media initially. That's very suspicious. Why would you do that if no foul play was expected?
And he makes a great point. They did this at the very start, and that's something that I want y'all to put in y'all brains. From July 5th, a day or two after the body was found washed up on Horn Island, these boys deactivated their Facebook and then lawyered up right away. If I had seriously nothing to do with anything, and all I was a friend, and one of my friends passed away, why would I feel the need to lawyer up? Why would I feel the need to delete pictures and make my Instagram private knowing it was public? How do you know scrutiny is even going to come your way if no facts or anything has come out? The body was just found. Yes, y'all picture was floating around because y'all was the last ones with him. But at the end of the day, y'all was the last ones with him. So if you just stay silent, kept your Facebook or Instagram public, didn't lawyer up right away, and just sat back and quiet, figured everything that y'all was going to do behind the scenes, we wouldn't be asking so many questions about y'all. But it's your actions that has us question you. It's your actions that have us wonder what is really the truth and what's going on and what y'all had to do with it. It's your actions. But let's let the Judge College Moore continue.
Had occurred because people drown every year. And if you're just a witness to someone drowning, there's no need to be so afraid or
so fidgety.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, a lot of things were going on as this unfolded, a lot of suspicious activity. And I'm going to kind of highlight a couple of them for you. The first was, his phone and keys were not on his person. How did you feel about that particular information? You got that?
That in of itself.
Well, his keys, we know that he slept over the boy's house that night. So it makes sense that at the end of the day, if you're going to go back to that boy's house and you know you're going to be out on a boat all day, you're going to leave your keys at his house. But it's the phone that continues to come up in the question. Because if we got to remember all the way back to when we first talked about this case, the number one thing that worried us all was, if I'm standing on the island hollering at this bad little ting, this bad honey, she looked good, I'm a, player myself, and I'm just walking up to her, we talking, and my friends come up to me and say, hey, yeah, we about to go. I'm gonna be like, all right, that's cool. Let me grab my phone and stuff, and then y'all can go ahead and take off. I'm gonna stay back and kick it with her. That's a normal response that probably a teenager or a young man who's maybe interested in a young lady would probably do. He gonna tell y'all, yeah, y'all go ahead, but don't you think he's gonna at least take his phone so he can contact somebody, so he can make sure, hey, mama, I got a ride, or he can make sure at the end of the day he can find somebody or text somebody to make sure he has a ride? That's the number one suspicious thing. Yes, he didn't want to have his phone in the water, but if y'all proceeded to get in the boat and leave, and y'all proceeded to tell him, Nolan, get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. But Nolan, according to Warren from that interview, Warren said that, hey, nah, we gonna stay. We gonna stay. Or Nolan said, we gonna stay on the island. Why wouldn't he grab his phone, though? Why wouldn't he grab his phone? I'm just asking. But Judge, go ahead and take it away.
The phone, if you're out boating and the water was so high, you normally would have your phone on a dry location, so you would have left it in the interior of the boat or something. But the suspicious thing would come when if he allegedly told them he was going to go stay on the island with a young lady, he would have retrieved his phone. For certain you don't have it on you. Yeah. And so that's one of the first things you're going to do.
I would think I would give you the phone. Hey, yo, here's your phone.
He would have voluntarily, when it retrieved, or his friends would have reminded him of taking it to him before they got on the boat and left the island. They would have seen it. And definitely, if they just happened to forget to give it to him, as soon as they got back to land, they would have taken it to his mother or his father and said.
Because were they not, he was supposed to be staying at one of their houses, right? Like a sleepover?
He did the night before, allegedly, yes.
So I think to me, that was a question. Okay, if he's not gonna go back with y'all, how does he get back to the house?
Mm-hmm.
Like if y'all was his ride, unless somebody else was supposed to be out there, that's where it gets a little blank for me.
Correct. Because now I was still at the friend's house. Yeah.
Right. Another thing that kind of came up, maybe that's considered suspicious, that they didn't let his family know, particularly his mother, know till like 11 p.m. or something like that.
Yes.
That he was missing.
And I didn't understand that either, because if you believe the stepmom, they left Horn Island around 4:30. And so I don't know why.
I think that was the real mom. I think.
Now the judge is a stepmom.
She was out there too?
She didn't go out there. The real mom went out there, but
she said she was out there too. Nah, but she made a statement though that's going to be used against her in the court of law that might potentially impeach her, get her off of that jurisdiction that she's currently on. Because as a judge, you're not supposed to say nothing, not a thing. You're supposed to stay out of it. And even that statement that you said, we're going to debunk that statement that you said, Mr. Cole, here shortly. Our bedroom lawyer, she's head on the case. And we're going to bring her back in a second. But let's finish.
Someone released a statement on Facebook, and I believe that was Ashley Cole, that recounted what I believe Warren had told her, Warren Hudson, that they left the island around 4:30. And so there's a lot of hours that would have passed between 4:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. So I don't know why they would have waited till 11 p.m. to call Miss Wansley.
Yeah, I think that was something that stood out for me, because it kind of helped support something possibly happening, things moving, things being deleted, if you're kind of getting all that time, that time we don't know what's happening. Now, I also will point out another thing that was suspicious is the inconsistencies in their storylines when it first came out, like the timeline. I will kind of give this grace, but Warren's real mother said that they left around 5. There was a DM message that we had covered. And then his stepmother said around 3:30, 4.
See, and that's the thing. That's another thing within this case. It's one person saying this timeline, one person saying this, one person saying that, one person saying this. Dog, it's too many people with too many different stories. Warren's mother, in the statement, and I will show y'all this here in a second. Warren's mother said Warren, the last time he saw Nolan on the island was around 3 p.m. Then he proceeded to leave the island because he got told, because the island was potentially having an on-taking water. The boat was taking on water. So if the boat was taking on water, right? Let's make it make sense. The boat is taking on water. Your son last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. on the island. But nah. You know what Warren said? Warren said that I heard Bart. Bart was telling Nolan, the last time I saw Nolan, he had his arms wrapped around a girl. The last time I saw Nolan, Bart was yelling at him, telling him to get in the boat. But he wanted to stay. And then your mom saying this, like, dog, it doesn't add up. And we're going to get to it. And I'm going to show you the actual facts here in a second, because our bedroom lawyer is on it once again. But let's let them finish, and then we can get to the next video. Because, man, I'm going to make this all make sense.
30s when they left. But I was noticing a lot of inconsistency at times. Were there other things that time-wise that didn't make sense for you?
Yeah, I don't see why the stepmother and the real mother would have different timelines. What did Warren tell them? The truth never changes. And so he should have told them both the same thing. And so that tells me that if they are giving inconsistent statements, that's in line with what his statement is different from Katie's. So it's too many inconsistent statements. And that's how you know somebody's not telling the truth. And now we can't determine who's lying, but somebody's lying out of the group, because all of that cannot be the truth. Somebody has to be inaccurate. So
and that's from your professional background of knowing that when it's inconsistencies, there's behind that is something else going on.
Yes.
Exactly. Now we're gonna leave y'all right there. We're gonna leave it right there, but let's get to our bedroom lawyer for 2 seconds. Because if there's inconsistencies within any story, it has to get some investigation done. It has to be some investigation. If there's inconsistencies within a story, we must get to the bottom of it. And that's in any investigation. But with this story in particular, it's so many different things going on. So it must call for some investigation. And this doesn't include finger pointing. But if the fingers start to point at you just coincidentally, maybe it's a reason for it.
I have to go back to the CETO call and what we allegedly heard in the background, which did sound like somebody saying Nolan, okay? Or Nolan, wake up. Somebody needs to enhance that.
Somebody needs to enhance it. They did enhance it. And with people enhancing it, y'all know what y'all heard. Everybody's enhancing it. Nancy played the audio about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I told y'all, Nancy Grace, she is not afraid to get, hey, Nancy Grace is not afraid if she got to go down with the ship. She said, if you want to sue me, sue me. She said, if you want to sue me, sue me. And I respect it 1,000%. But when we talk about that CETO call, it's on to your interpretation. It's up to you to say what you hear. And believe it or not, I'm going to probably lean into believing a little bit of what I heard. So if you don't remember the CETO call, let me just refresh your memories, because it's been a minute since we didn't heard it. It's been a minute since we didn't talked about it. It's been a minute, So let me refresh your memory. Rest in peace to Nolan Wells.
Said that they thought Nolan was dead.
CETO Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir?
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
What's the best phone number, sir?
Reach me at.
You are hearing the audio distress call from the boat. That is the boat on which Nolan Wells went to Horn Island. Now, there have been a lot of different accounts about whether he was on the boat when he came back from Horn Island, when he was supposed to come back from Horn Island. He never came back from Horn Island. And you can clearly hear on that version, which we obtained from the Mississippi Department of Marine Research. They released it. It's not something off TikTok or Insta. And that's what you hear. Let me hear 184 one more time, please.
She gonna play it back again.
CETO Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can?
Okay, so Nancy, I know you played that audio. I know you played that back to back, over and over and over and over and over again. And as a former prosecutor, as someone that I believe that we can trust, and I believe that your word means just a little something, because you're a former prosecutor. You prosecuted over 100 different cases. You can go look up. It's public record, actually. So that's why with Nolan Wells' case got in front of Nancy, I said, hold on. Nancy ain't really biased. Nancy kind of calls it how it is. Nancy is usually honest in most instances, and I haven't caught her lying out yet. So Nancy, we're gonna get back to you, and we're gonna get back to this call. But back to the title and what you saw. His friends are talking again. So we're gonna get back to Nancy. Put a hold on that. But his friends are out here talking again, chat. Let's see what they're talking about. And all my ghost watchers out there, hit that like button, please. It takes 2 seconds. Please hit the like button. I appreciate you in advance. But they did another interview.
I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called.
Bro, look how serious.
Christine.
Look how serious his friends. Look at him. You better get the story right. You bet not say nothing. Get the story right. Look how hard he listening. He the lawyer. As a lawyer, when have you ever seen a lawyer just dress up in regular street clothes trying to be normal? Which audiences y'all are trying to appeal to? You trying to see we're good American boys. He's even wearing a nice little American flag and what is that, a dolphin on his shirt. If you a lawyer, how come you ain't dressed like a lawyer? Most lawyers, they like to be suited and booted, but I appreciate you dressing down for the cause. But who are y'all trying to appeal to? Just asking for a friend. Let me let y'all continue.
Nolan Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son. And I'm glad that I did.
Warren, we don't have any record of you calling the Coast Guard. Can you please show us where it says you called the Coast Guard? Because from the records that I saw, Christine called the Coast Guard, and your little farting friend was the one listed on the report. So when did you call the Coast Guard, and why isn't that recorded anywhere? And if I'm wrong, please show me the paperwork so I can correct the record.
Right.
And that's chat, that's the thing. Because Warren said we called the Coast Guard. Warren, sir, if we're being accurate, you didn't call the Coast Guard until later on that night. Because when she asked y'all if you needed a Coast Guard, you want to be reminded of what y'all said? Well, guess what? Here it is. Hold on. Wait. I can't. Hold on. Here it is. Listen, chat. He said they called the Coast Guard. When y'all call the Coast Guard on the Cito phone call, let's hear it.
Reach me at 2.
Imagine being able to build an...
Whoa. Just as I'm trying to prove a point. Y'all see how they do me? But don't trip. Because we right back on it. Come on now. Oh, hold on. Hold the phone. Hold on, chat. My bad.
Right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
Hold on, what? I thought you said you called the Coast Guard. Do you mean you called the Coast Guard later on that night? After you called? Hold on. I'm just confused. I thought you called the Coast Guard. Warren, did you not just say you called the Coast Guard? Hold on. Let's replay this.
I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called Christine Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son. And I'm glad that I did.
Warren, we don't have any record of you calling the Coast Guard. Can you please show us where it says you called the Coast Guard? Because from the records that I saw, Christine called the Coast Guard, and your little farting friend was the one listed on the report. So when did you call the Coast Guard, and why isn't that recorded anywhere? And if I'm wrong, please show me the paperwork so I can correct the record.
So she can correct the record, because Warren, Bart's name was on the Coast Guard report. Saying that he called the Coast Guard. When y'all called the Coast Guard with Cito on the phone, that was Wyatt on the phone with the Coast Guard. So when did you ever, Warren, call anybody besides Mama Christine? Let's listen one more time.
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
If you sinking in 31 foot of water, I would want a security guard, a booster guard, a child guard, any guard come get me and save me. I'm just saying. But anyway, next video. I digress.
So I'm just confused. Let me get this straight. So the farter was not out there with y'all on Horn Island. He just happened to arrive right at the moment y'all were sinking on the phone with Cito to tow y'all out 3 miles, and then he went on about his way. But then the next day, his name popped up on the Coast Guard report. But Warren is the one who called the Coast Guard. So why did the Coast Guard get those names confused? I don't understand what's going on. I mean, can somebody please explain what's going on here? Because it seems like somebody's lying. All right, so I'm just confused. Let me get this straight. So the farter was not out there with y'all on Horn Island. He just happened to arrive right at the moment y'all were sinking on the phone with Cito to tow y'all out 3 miles, and then he went on about his way. But then the next day, his name popped up on the Coast Guard report.
So she basically saying, Bart, how did they forget, or how is it a misconception, or that your name is on a Coast Guard report, but Warren said that he called the Coast Guard? See, those are enough questions just right there. And it's a whole bunch of other ones. Let's continue.
Need to know who y'all are hiring to work at this Coast Guard. Y'all must be hiring the Walmart greeters. The Walmart greeters are the ones that must be working for the Mississippi Coast Guard, because the amount of mistakes that these fools are making. I need to know who y'all are hiring to work at this Coast Guard. Y'all must.
My bad, y'all. My bad. But let's get back to George Carlos real quick. Because all this, I'm going to tie it all together, Chad. Just be patient.
About that, is that coincidence? Is it? Because I thought once your body hits the water, it's supposed to get moved or.
The client wants a blockbuster.
Oh, my. Chat. They don't want us to be great out here today. They don't want us to be great. That's like the 8th commercial I done got. It's okay. I got something for him.
Here, People magazine summarized what Warren was stating about the depth of the water. Right here is a direct contradiction as to what the Cito call was said. They said on the Cito call they were in 31 foot of water. Hudson went on to speak about the depth of the water in the area their boat was, saying towards the stern, the water was waist deep, but towards the bow, the water was deeper. Okay? So from waist deep to 31 foot, how deep are we talking about there? Go find this part of the interview and tag me at the time.
Hold on. We ain't going to do all that. But I'm going to go ahead and show you this other video because it gets more interesting. Because the question comes, Warren says that it was just some mechanical problems on the boat. Wyatt said on the call that the boat is sinking. His mom said that the boat was taking on a little bit of water. So which one is the truth? Interesting.
Well, I rode out here on a different boat, like I told you, and I grabbed my boat. I grabbed my phone when I left the Palm Beach to get on the boat with Triton. To get on the boat with Wyatt because we were having, boat issues. And when I got on the boat.
So Warren, y'all was having boat issues, or was the boat sinking? Was the boat going down, or were y'all having boat issues, Warren?
Well, I rode out here on a different boat, like I told you, and I grabbed my boat. I grabbed my phone when I left the Palm Beach to get on the boat with Triton. To get on the boat with Wyatt because we were having, boat issues. And when I got on the boat.
So Warren, y'all was having boat issues, or was the boat sinking?
Which one is it? Because I'm confused. Because if we play the callback, we're sinking. We're going down. We're sinking. We're going down.
Up. I thought he was on the check his chest.
Hold on.
Explanation.
Hold on, chat. My bad. That's on me. That's on me, chat. That's on me. How far is the water coming up, chat? That's the question. How far is it coming up, Wyatt?
Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Huh? Huh? I don't know. It's just sinking. We're going down now. Okay. So if y'all really sinking, I got a question for you. Are you sinking or are you not? Are you sinking or are you not? Just asking for a friend.
Leaving. The boat's having issues, and like
Now, that's 2 times Warren was talking about the boat having issues. How big of an issue is sinking? Is that, would you say a sinking boat going down in 31 foot of water is a little issue or a big issue? Or what do you mean by issues? What issues was the boat having, Warren? This is the second time you used the word issues. It's almost like somebody told you to use that word. That is not the word that they told the seatail operator. They told Vicky the boat was sinking and going down in 31 foot of water.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Issues, huh? Interesting word.
Yeah, because if it's just having issues, I'm confused. But chat, stay with me. Chat, I'm gonna take you somewhere. All right, if I got you, just stay with me, chat. We gonna go somewhere with all this. I promise you. Just stay with me.
And we go back to our list of all the evidence that they have of why they were not sinking. And now we add Warren's statements in there. Okay. Warren went on 2 podcasts and claimed the boat had issues. Not once did he claim the boat was sinking or going down in 31 foot of water. And furthermore, he claimed that the boat was actually in waist deep water. So there we did. We have all of this list of every single reason why the boat was not sinking. Keep building the list. So now we go back to our list.
And here's the list, y'all. GPS coordinates did not match the 31 foot of water that the boat was supposedly towed at. Could not tell the dispatch call how far or how high the water was coming. First, it was 17 feet of water that they was in. No, we in 31 foot of water. No, we just sinking. And they claim to be going down, but yet decline the Coast Guard. If you're sinking, we're going down now. We're just going down. Why would you want the Coast Guard to come help y'all, come save y'all? Because even the parts where you're saying that CTO audio is enhanced, right? Even if we take out the audio that everyone's talking about, that it's enhanced. If we just focus on what we actually hear, not the other stuff at the beginning of the call, things just simply don't add up, my friend. They don't. And there's the rest of the evidence right there. All right, but now you know. Now you know I'm going to play it a little clearer for you. Chat, stay with me now. We going somewhere, chat. Stay with me.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
It looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you on Horn Island?
Yes.
All right. Is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking. Yes.
Hold on. She said, are you sinking or are you aground? Aground means that you can still kind of float a little bit. The water ain't all the way underwater. But sinking means you're going down, down, down. When I say, not when I say, but when I hear sinking, I'm thinking of Titanic. I'm thinking worst case scenario possible in the world. Ain't y'all? Am I the only one who think Titanic when I hear sinking? Okay.
If you were in a plane crash, how would you describe that? Would you be like, oh, the plane had a little bit of an issue that we're on? I mean, Wyatt clearly told the operator, we're sinking, we're going down, we're in 31 or 17. We didn't even know, he didn't know how far the water was rising up in the boat, but he knew how the depth of the water that the boat was in. And then you've got Warren just nonchalantly saying, no, the boat was having some issues. We were all in waist deep water. So those two stories right there, as I told you before I even listened, I knew they were going to be conflicting because I knew Warren wasn't going to be on no podcast saying the boat was sinking. Because when Warren did the podcast, we didn't have the full CTO audio. So I know that. That's why I had to go get what the version he actually used.
Because if you remember, Warren did the interview on the day of Nolan Wells' funeral. So he didn't know the CTO phone call was out. That's why he's saying we had some issues instead of, how come you ain't saying it was sinking? Because if it was sinking, I think that's everything that everyone, or one thing that everyone on the boat could probably agree with. The boat was sinking. Interesting.
If the boat's really sinking, you're not going to say it was an issue. If you were in a plane crash.
Yeah. It seems like they're dissing themselves from Wyatt and Bart. They're dissing themselves from Wyatt and Bart a little bit. Hey. Potentially, because that's Jax, Warren. This guy, he barely said like 2 words. He was just, I'm just here because they told me I got to be here.
Wyatt's on the phone with Cito in that clip. I mean, he's on the phone. Wouldn't you think that?
Now listen, chat. Wyatt's on the phone. Wyatt is on the phone. But listen how he volunteers. Chat, I want you to hear me clearly when I say this point. Listen to how he describes, well, what do you think? We were just sitting here watching the body just on the ground on the boat. You give very descriptive details, my friend. You give very, very descriptive details in what you're about to say. And you're just going to volunteer this information, sir. No one asked you to go into detail. All you could have said was no. We had the CTO call. Wyatt was on the phone. And if you don't believe it, I mean, at the end of the day, we not making it up. How can we make it up and just leave it at that? Or why would we make it up? But watch the details that he give us, chat. Just listen.
You would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something.
Oh, we didn't see him. We heard y'all calling his name. We heard that. Our ears were. We heard y'all calling his name.
Why would we call Cito if we have a dead body on the boat?
Because y'all needed to make up a sinking story for an alibi.
I mean, why would we call the Coast Guard? You know why?
Okay, we've already established you didn't call the Coast Guard. In fact, you denied Coast Guard assistance.
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
Wyatt's on the phone with Cito.
Chat. I'm gonna put it in a nice little bow for you. Keep listening. Next video. Because now, Judge Cole, we need you to come into the front of the congregation, Judge Cole. We got to have you come into the front of the congregation because now your statement doesn't make sense, miss. Let's get into it.
All right, now let's go back to Judge Cole's statement of misconduct, okay? She says they left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water. She didn't say the boat was sinking. Again, she didn't say the boat was going down. Taking on water, having an issue is way different than having an emergency sinking, okay? So, again, here's another piece of evidence to add to the list of why the boat was not sinking. Because even the judge came with her cute little blonde face to let everyone know the boat was, in fact, not sinking. All right, now let's go back to Joe.
Because chat, this is a statement. All right, you can't really see it, but I'll read it too. No one in our family is trying to take away or impede with the investigation by law enforcement or otherwise hamper the family of law enforcement quest for answers. Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and corroborated fully. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. That is a lie. Because how can he last see Nolan around 3 p.m. July 4th? And chat, you didn't see the videos, you didn't see and done your own research, but Warren said that he heard Bart yelling and telling And he witnessed Bart telling and everybody else telling Nolan, get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. But y'all left at 4:30. So if y'all going to leave at 4:30, why would y'all tell him y'all leaving at 3 o'clock when you last saw him and y'all don't take off till 4:30? That doesn't really make sense. But your mama said last you saw him was around 3 p.m., but you said that day you told him to get on the boat before you left. Something's not adding up, my friends. Something is not adding up. And Ian, you're not lying. What's up, Ian? I appreciate you always tuning in, my guy. That's the Ian. That's the Ian in the chat, man. But Ian, I know they're distancing themselves from Wyatt and Warren. They are. They definitely are, because Bart and Wyatt, they're possible. Warren and them boys distancing themselves for a reason, chat. They're setting up a play. Potentially, they're going to throw somebody under the bus, and we're going to get to it. But Miss Ashley Cole, we have caught you up in a lie as well. And you're a judge. Not good.
Here's why this is a crucial piece of evidence. Because taking on water means water enters the boat, but the status is the boat still floats. Sinking means too much water enters the boat, and the weight of the water becomes greater than the upward push of the water, which means the boat goes below the water. Okay? So these two things are crucial pieces of evidence that mean different things. And we've got one person claiming sinking and a very, very adamant claim of sinking. We've got another person, a judge, claiming taking on water. And then we've got another person on a podcast claiming boat had issues. This is very important evidence to prove the boat was not sinking.
Our bedroom lawyer is on it, chat. She gonna put this in a nice bow, and then I'm gonna bring it all the way home. Okay? Let's keep listening.
I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms, Katie. Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's
Okay, Warren. So the last time you...
What? I told you, chat. What's going on? And chat, hit that like button. There's a couple. Hey, don't be a ghost watcher. Hit the like button. Show me some love. All right, please. But anyway, continue to listen, because she's about to hit on the head. I ain't going to even have to say nutty. I'm just presenting you with the information that I know.
Saw Nolan was at 3 o'clock, correct? Because you just said that. But the boat left at 4:30. So how were you yelling for Nolan to get on the boat? You were yelling for 90 minutes? Y'all were now yelling for 90 minutes for Nolan to come get on a sinking boat. But the last time you saw Nolan was at 3 o'clock, but y'all left at 4:30. Make that make sense, please.
last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was cradling.
The last time I saw Nolan was at 3 o'clock, but your mama said that you left the boat at 4:30 p.m. You said that you left the boat at 4:30 p.m., but I'm going to let you finish.
A girl in his arms.
He was cradling
Katie. Nolan was...
Hey, Nolan, I see you, big dog. Yeah, you went out on a high note. Hey, rest in heaven, though. My bad.
Sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat.
And this isn't chat. This isn't anybody pointing any fingers. This isn't anybody saying this or that. This is them talking themselves. And we're just matching up with the simple and basic information that we know. We're not saying he did it. But we are saying these boys know something. And we are saying that the story's not matching up. And what we are saying is that somebody's hiding something.
Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here.
So if you say you last saw Nolan at 3 p.m., Chad, I just showed you what his mama said. She said he last saw Nolan at 3 p.m., but y'all left at 4:30. So y'all was yelling at him for 90 minutes to get on the boat. She makes a hell of a point, doesn't she, Chad?
I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's
Make sense, chat. It's the impossible timeline of the wild, wild west. because it's not making sense. And this isn't nobody pointing the fingers. This is not even a CTO call that then sunk the ship. It's not even that. This is just what you're saying out of your mouth and what you put out, what your mom, the judge, the lawyer put out. And I know she wouldn't put that out if she didn't know factual information. I know she wouldn't send you on that podcast if she didn't believe that you would say accurate information. But even you, Sir Warren, you're poking holes in your own mama's statement. You're poking holes in your own statement. We ain't doing that. Nobody's making this a black or white thing. Nobody's making it a race thing. We're calling it right down the middle, and we're just saying and using the information that y'all putting out here. Nobody told you to go hop on a podcast and start talking. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to plead the fifth. Warren, you have those rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to plead the fifth. So, my guy, y'all are doing it to yourselves. Next video.
It is impossible for y'all to have last seen Nolan at 3 o'clock and simultaneously been yelling for him to get on the boat at 4:30 p.m. when the boat was leaving. Furthermore, why would you be yelling for Nolan to come get on a sinking boat?
What? What? So clearly somebody's lying. If the boat's sinking, we're going down now. That phone call to CTO was happening at about 4:30. We're going down now. Nolan, I want you to come get on this sinking boat now. So you can go down with us. So we can be the Titanic all over again. The Titanic 2.0. But you last saw him at 3. Something's not making sense, chat. That's all I'm saying. Trust me, chat, we got a lot more to get into.
That doesn't make sense, and that is inconsistent. It is impossible for y'all to have last seen Nolan at 3 o'clock and simultaneously been yelling for him to get on the boat at 4:30 p.m.
Period. I just had to play it again for the people all the way in the back. Next video.
Someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, oh, I just got in a fight. And this guy punched me in the face. And I punched him right back. And then went to the ground. And my brother put him in an arm bar. And
was Nolan involved in any of this?
Absolutely not. When I was over there, it was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age. And I mean, Nolan, I never saw Nolan over there.
So the guy that they pulled away, you don't know who that was? You don't know who the guy they pulled away might have been? I think I might know who the guy they pulled away might have been.
Someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, oh, I just got in a fight. And this guy punched me in the face. And I punched him right back. And then went to the ground. And my brother put him in an arm bar.
My brother put him in an arm bar. So your brother put him in an arm bar? Chat, you know what an arm bar look like? Chat, you know what an arm bar look like? Warren, no. No, you didn't make it that. No, Warren. I'm not saying anything else about this chat, but this is what an arm bar looks like. It can look like that over the neck. It can look like this. An arm bar. Isn't this potentially how somebody can potentially end up unalived? If you're maybe doing it for too long, if you don't have any referees, anybody saying tap, 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 give him some air, give him some time. You said that your brother got in a fight. You volunteered that information, Warren. And I'm not even going to really go down that rabbit hole. But Warren, You volunteered that information, sir. And it's reported that Nolan got in a fight. Because he stayed, he was still back on the island. Warren, people said that they saw him still around 5 o'clock. They saw him get in a fight, blah, blah, blah. So did Nolan get in a fight with your brother? Guess we don't know, but you said it, Warren. Y'all just be volunteering information. This is amazing.
And was Nolan involved in any of this?
Absolutely not. When I was over there, it was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age. And I mean, Nolan, I never saw Nolan over there.
So the guy that they pulled away, you don't know who that was? You don't know who the guy they pulled away might have been? I think I might know who the guy they pulled away might have been.
Someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, oh, I just got in a fight. And this guy punched me in the face. And I punched him right back. And then went to the ground. And my brother put him in an arm bar. And
was Nolan involved in any of this?
Absolutely not. When I was over there, it was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age. And I mean, Nolan, I never saw Nolan over there.
Well, it's okay that you say you never saw Nolan over there because you went over there after the fight. And I'm not saying that Nolan potentially got in a fight, but Chad, this is what an armbar looks like. It can come in various forms, but it involves, the neck. Just throwing it out there. All allegedly. But ain't nobody asked you if your brother got in a fight, Warren. You just volunteered that information. You did. You did. You did. Just like your friend volunteered some other information. Because it was reported. People said that it was a fight potentially on that island. I heard reports and some people said it was like some UFC stuff or something. I heard a little whisper. I heard a little birdie say that. We ain't going to go down that rabbit hole. But y'all just be volunteering information. It's amazing to me.
Like, wouldn't you think that you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or scrambling around, or everybody in a pot, like in a small space on the boat looking at him or something? I mean,
you got that right, Jax. We definitely saw something. There was definitely an or something down there. Were y'all scrambling in the pot looking at him? I don't know. That is what I kind of saw. He's like, wouldn't you have seen Nolan in the boat when we were all on the floor and then we were all looking at him and his fucking leg popped up? It's kind of actually what we all saw. Jax, I'm assuming that's Jax. Which, man, why did y'all let Jax talk? Jax had nothing on Jax. Now y'all letting Jax talk.
wouldn't you?
Because why he go into such detail, chat? I'm just curious. Why did he go into such detail with this? Because at the end of the day, no one said anything about a boat. No one said anything about this, about that. But you go into grave, grave detail, my friend. You go into grave, grave detail. What you think? We're just sitting there looking at him at the bottom of the boat? Looking at him dead? Like, you gave a lot of examples. And nobody really said anything about all that. Here's the original video, y'all, that Officer Tatum posted, unaltered. Yeah, look right there. What pops up right there? This is from Officer Tatum's page, y'all. We don't know if that's a foot. My guy, what is this rope for? And if y'all sinking, dog, I said this last time we was on, chat, but if we really talking about it, if we really having an honest conversation, this is a video. Yeah, ironically, so you're towing your best friend, and the first thing you say, oh, let me just pull out a video of me towing him. And then y'all look like y'all sinking. He said he was sinking on the phone. Did this look like, boy, he over there living his best life. He like, man, it's just another walking day in the park. Don't seem like he's worried to be sinking. My guy right here, he over here getting bills out the cooler. Don't look like he worried about being sunken. Make it make sense. The girls back here, they over here chilling. Nobody's panicking. Just another day on the water. When what? Bro, what? He living his best life. Look like y'all sinking? Okay. But Jax, what you say again?
You think that you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or scrambling around, or everybody in a pot, like in a small space on the boat looking at him or something? I mean,
You got that right, Jax. We definitely saw something. There was definitely. I did see something popping up there. Okay, another thing is go back to that interview yesterday, okay, with the four of them. And they were like, really like, well, where would he be? Just laying on the boat down there? And we would all be looking at, like, they kind of like explained exactly where he would have been on the boat. That was very weird that they used those words.
Exactly. Just be volunteering information. And this ain't nothing that we saying. We just listening to what y'all saying. We're just being objective listeners. Isn't that what they teach us in school? You should be an objective listener. So I'm being an objective listener. Y'all putting this information out. Y'all going on podcasts, telling it all, spilling all the tea, huh? And it just so happens y'all might be sinking your own goddamn shit. Because what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Just so that way y'all know. But y'all moving like you just don't care. I'm appalled.
like, wouldn't you think that you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or scrambling around, or everybody in a pot, like in a small space on the boat looking at him or something? I mean,
You got that right, Jax. We definitely saw something.
But just think about how he goes into detail just volunteering that, chat. Like, dog. Now you make me just want to look at this video even more. Because my guy, if you sinking, he got a rope. What is this rope connecting to? What's right here? Because if we keep looking, slow play it. Hold on. It look like you got something tied up to that rope. Because it don't look like you towing it or you hooking up to another boat. But when you tug on that rope, it seemed like something pop up. And this is Officer Tatum. This y'all guy, he posted this. Over 4.8 million views. It's Officer Tatum. You see his watermark? Is that a foot? He's just casually getting biz. What is that rope to? Chad, I ain't saying too much. Am I? But if you look at the rope, what is the rope for? What is it tied to? Is that Nolan down there? It's not tied to anything on the side of the boat. And then it just so happened when you pulling on it, I see something right there. Lo and behold, what the hell is that? Chat, you see it. This is not altered. We're sinking. We're going down. But he's getting stuff out the cooler. He's over here living his best life. He look like he just chilling. He on the edge of the boat, but y'all sinking. The lady is just back there chilling. Ain't making contact with the camera. She was smart. She stayed out of the camera sight. She said, let me get behind him. Bro, what? Interesting. Very interesting. But dog. If we really think about it, Warren, we need to let you come to the front of the congregation one more time, please.
I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom.
Huh?
No water's coming out, no access water's coming out. And, it was a big issue because I think the reason was because there were so many people getting on and off the boat. And at some point the boat was very, very crowded and there was just a lot of people on. So that it drags water in. And eventually, I think over time we were out there for a couple hours. the boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater. And so the motor wouldn't trim down.
Interesting. The motor wouldn't trim down. Y'all can go ahead and read some of these factual information that I'm putting on the screen. I'm not going to read it all. We just going to go ahead and get into the next video. But y'all, I'm just showing you a few things that's out here on the internet. I'm just showing you a few examples. We only hit the CETO call just a little bit. But what we really hitting is what these people saying out here on this podcast. They saying to tell it all. And all we doing is just doing good Samaritan work and looking into it. Is that so wrong? Is that a crime? Are they going to try to sue me now? Because all I'm doing is just looking into what y'all say. What y'all say. That's all. That's it. That's all. But anyway, we'll get back to our bedroom lawyer here in 2 seconds. I promise you. But Judge Carlos Moore, we got to hear from you one more time, my guy. Or a few more. Oh, that's on me. That's on the hype video. Go check it out.
No Bolden expert, but I find it suspicious that when the island was searched on the day before, his body was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And then to find it in the place where he was last known to be seen, if that's true, on Monday, 2 days later, that's very suspicious.
Yeah.
In that same spot that his body was found was the same spot the judges happened to be getting told from. How ironic. Wow. So you mean to tell me the same spot where Nolan body washed up on shore was the same spot that y'all just happened? Y'all just happened to get that fake toe from? Interesting.
Was that body, did it just wash up or was it planted there that morning?
Yeah. Did you just see the Cajun Navy's report that they put out?
I did see their report initially.
At least what I gathered that stood out for me was they pointed at there was no proof of the Triton boat taking on water. They don't have any outside of the call, there was no other proof to say that it was taken on water. That's what I got from that report, which, I thought was rather interesting. But was there anything out of that report that maybe stood out too?
Yeah, I just found it very suspicious. The whole thing with calling CETO versus calling 911 or calling the Coast Guard if you were sinking, and then the CETO dispatcher asked whoever she was speaking to, did they need Coast Guard? And they said no. And that's not a normal response. If you're sinking and taking on water and about to lose your life potentially, you're going to want somebody very trained and professional that's close by to get there as soon as possible. And as many people as possible.
Yeah. Because it was.
Chat. And that's the number one question. Because if you're really sinking, if we're really going down now like the Titanic, why wouldn't you want the Coast Guard to come help you? I'm just asking for a friend. Next video. Hey, chat, I keep the clips, right? Yeah, you know.
What is your thoughts on that phone call to CETO? Some people have gone out.
Hold on, sir. You asked them the question. Don't lead them now. Don't lead the witnesses.
And to CETO. What is your thoughts on that phone call to CETO?
See right there. What are your thoughts on a phone call to CETO? Very simple question. Officer Tatum, we know you on their side, but you don't have to make it too obvious. Because at that point, you're supposed to just stop and let them answer. But you potentially go on to lead the witness, sir. Why?
Some people have gone out and done enhancements to the audio, and in doing that, created a transcript manually. It doesn't appear that the transcript was derived from an automated system or have any.
Sir, you're leading the witness, sir. As a former officer of the law, you're not supposed to do that.
In my opinion, real integrity with it. So what do you guys think about that audio?
Well, I can
and transfer and in
once again, chat.
To Cito. What is
y'all see how he's leading the witness? Y'all see how he playing both sides? Chat, please like this video, please, please, please. Because you helped me out. But chat, are you paying attention? Because he's leading the witness.
What is your thoughts on that phone call to Cito?
See? And you're supposed to stop. Let them talk. But then you proceed to lead the witness. Then you proceed to walk him down memory lane. And you proceed to throw them an alley-oop for a response. Officer Tatum, you are not slick, my guy. I see it all.
Some people have gone out and done enhancements to the audio.
That's irrelevant.
And in doing that, created a transcript manually. It doesn't appear that the transcript was derived from an automated system or have any, in my opinion, real integrity with it. So what do you guys think about that audio?
Well, I can go ahead and say that as you posted that clip of all of us on the boat, you know, as it's rolling, not rolling, but right there sitting in the water, Wyatt's on the phone with Cito in that clip. I mean, he's on the phone. Wouldn't you think that you would have seen?
Now watch how he just volunteers this information. I like when you talk, Jax. Keep talking. Because he asked you a simple question. Well, that audio is real, and all we were trying to do was potentially just get some help because we felt like the boat was taking on water. Boom, that should be your response right there. But you proceed to damn near tell us what happened, young man. Because your response should be simple and easy, sir. But yet you proceed to go ahead and give us a whole dissertation, a whole sequility. A sequility. Sequility? You get the point.
That audio.
Well, I can go ahead and say that as you posted that clip of all of us on the boat, you know, as it's rolling, not rolling, but right there sitting in the water, Wyatt's on the phone with Cito in that clip. I mean, he's on the phone.
Talking about this video, right?
That you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or
now watch how his friends start looking at him. Dog, you saying too much. Look at Warren's face. Dog, you saying too much. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Scrambling around, or everybody in a pot, like in a small space on the boat, looking at him or something. I mean, it's just so crazy to think that. Why would we call Cito if we have a dead body on the boat? I mean, why would we call the Coast Guard? You know, why would we?
They like, dog, you're getting away from the script. Jax, you're saying too much. You probably should have cut this out, Officer Tatum. Because you asked him a very simple question. You even led him. You even tossed him the alley-oop, and yet he's still talking about why would we potentially just have a body laying there, everybody staring at it. Dog, all you had to say was, the Cito call, I mean, we were just out here, you know, we just wanted some help. We thought we didn't really need the Coast Guard, but, you know, at the end of the day, our friend Bart, he came over and he wanted to tow us, and we just got to tow with him. As simple as that. But you go on to give us a whole sequelity, a whole dissertation.
Bottom of on the floor or something. Cito rolling.
What do you guys think about that audio?
Well, I can go ahead and say that as you posted that clip of all of us on the boat, you know, as it's rolling, not rolling, but right there sitting in the water, Wyatt's on the phone with Cito in that clip. I mean, he's on the phone.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think that you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or scrambling around, or everybody in a pot, like in a small space on the boat, looking at him or something? I mean, it's just so crazy to think that. Why would we call Cito if we have a dead body on the boat? I mean, why would we call the Coast Guard? You know, why would we?
You didn't call the Coast Guard, sir. But continue.
Do the things we did if we know we killed somebody.
I think people, regardless of who it is going to believe what they want to hear. If they want to believe that my friends and I had something to do with Nolan dying, then they're going to believe that regardless of what you put out. But you put out, Brandon, that a clip of the boat when Wyatt was on the phone with Cito, and it is boldly clear that Nolan was not on the boat with us. You can literally almost see down to the deck. And as you can see in that picture, Everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito.
Hold on. Why is everybody completely casual, Warren? You're just kind of walking yourself in some bullshit. I didn't say it, chat, but forgive me for my language. I almost said it. But Warren, say it again.
On the boat with us. You can a clip of the boat when Wyatt was on the phone with Cito, and it is boldly clear that Nolan was not on the boat with us. You can
okay, we know that Nolan was not on the boat with you, but that's aside the point.
Literally almost see down to the deck. And as you can see in that picture, everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito. Yeah, we were scrambling around trying to get the boat fixed, but the guys were.
Oh, what? As you can see, everybody's completely casual. Everybody's completely chilling. Everybody's completely just hanging out. So, my guy, Warren, can I ask you a question? If everybody's chilling, right? Why does the Cito call that you describe sounds a little bit like this?
Cito assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Hold on. But you said, yeah, casual on the boat. This is a picture of the boat, right, Warren? So if you sinking, we're going down now. We're sinking, we're going down now. Say it again, Warren.
Is not on the boat with, and it is a clip of the boat when Wyatt was on the phone with Cito. And it is boldly clear that Nolan was not on the boat with us. You can literally almost see down to the deck. And as you can see in that picture, everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito.
Why? But that's my question. How is everybody just completely casual on the boat if he talking about the boat sinking? Somebody's lying. Something's not adding up. That must be the slowest sinking ship in the history of ships or in the history of boats. Because I thought it was a Titanic, sir.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Interesting. Continue to Warren.
Yeah, we were scrambling around trying to get the boat fixed, but the guys were, in the video, you'd see me, I'm sitting on the bow. If there was someone dying on the boat, why would everybody just be sitting there?
Look how locked in they are on him. Bro, get the story right. Bro, make sure you come on.
Waiting to either get towed in or in the first place, like Jack said, why would Wyatt call Cito? It's crazy. The reason we turned down Coast Guard is why would we call Coast Guard if Cito could pull us in? But we fixed the boat.
Well, Cito called and they asked Shot, did you need the Coast Guard? Because they were thinking it was an emergency potentially that they just couldn't help with, sir. But continue.
And we ran into Fort Bayou, and that's it. The Cito call was completely enhanced, and these people just want to believe what they want to hear. And that's exactly what they're doing. So it's just crazy to me that people have tried to twist.
Who's these people, sir, that you referred to, though? Because all I'm doing, chat, all we doing, right, is just listening to what they saying, right, chat? That's right.
This and twist the audio. When we came out with the first interview, it debunked half these lies, and now you don't hear about any of it. You don't hear about the pool party because it was on June 27th. You don't hear about anything else that was mentioned. Thousands of lies, and now the audio comes back, and all of a sudden we can hear Nolan yelling in the background, screaming. We're screaming about how he's dead. That's just a complete lie, and it's another lie to push this narrative that people don't want to turn down. It's insane to me.
First of all, with respect to Warren, if you just murdered your best friend on an island, the
By the way,
dumbest
this
thing
is the
you could
attorney,
do
Charles.
would be to call the Coast Guard.
Yes, this is their attorney. This is their attorney, Charles. The good old Proud Boys over there. Because this is the first time I saw an attorney just dress so casual like this when he's in the video representing his clients. But hey, I guess that's a new wave.
To call a federal law enforcement agency and tell them, hey, can you guys go out and check out this island?
Dog, to cover your own ass, and y'all didn't call the Coast Guard. You didn't. Bart did. It said Bart did.
And look for Nolan Wells. Well, that's exactly what Warren did. Warren called the Coast Guard. And that is one of many very compelling facts. He got back and he called the Coast Guard. Does that sound like a guilty man to you?
He got back and called the Coast Guard. Does that sound like a guilty man to you? My guy. Just because he called the Coast Guard, what that supposed to be? Earlier, you ain't want the Coast Guard. All of a sudden, now, later on that night, you calling the Coast Guard? Oh, this is a part of the play. Oh, okay. Let me be quiet.
All right, now these are all American young men, incredible young men. And they did a lot more than just that.
What does that have to do with anything, sir?
I won't go through all of it now, but they did a lot of heroic things after the fact, and they did the best they could. And
Well, what do you mean after the fact, sir? Because after the fact, that night, they didn't search and go back and take the boats out there looking for Nolan Wells. Even though, yeah, it's probably dangerous at night, but that next morning, they didn't go out there searching for Nolan Wells the first thing in the morning. They didn't. They was eating breakfast, kicking it. When their best friend didn't end up coming home that night. Their brother, supposedly, they end up coming home that night. But the next day, y'all just eating breakfast casually, and you don't go out at all that next day to go see him or to go search for him? Interesting. Y'all got boats. Just saying.
they tried for their dear friend. All of their actions are the actions of innocent men, not guilty men. And again, they're categorically, completely, and totally innocent.
Some moms have a village. I
Oh
have
my
the Skylight
goodness.
calendar.
My bad,
Skylight
Chad.
syncs all.
Somebody have a bit. Come on, YouTube. Y'all ain't paying us for that. You ain't boosting my pockets. Don't be doing that to me. Back to the regular scheduled programming. Oh, my bad, chat.
Yeah, I'll let you go. I mean, what
I got a couple.
I didn't understand the whole thing about this completely. I didn't get. I quite honestly, what's the young man's name? I think is Warren. I didn't quite get what his explanation was, and his yeah.
I'm gonna say a couple things here. The first and foremost is
listen to what he says, chat. I'm showing you multiple opinions because I just don't want you to hear from me. I'm showing you multiple sides because I just don't want you to hear from me. I'm showing you multiple things that are just information that they're putting out. The CETO call that came from the Mississippi Department of Human Resources. The government. They released that. These podcasts that came from a source that they went on, a platform that they trusted. They allowed that platform to put these podcast videos out. This is all public information and public documents, so we're not blaming him, we're not blaming her, we're not blaming them. We're not blaming anybody. We're just looking at the evidence that we have right in front of us. And those are your statements. Those are what the government released in the CETO call. Those are the GPS coordinates. Those are the judge's, your mother's statements and yours. So this is everything that y'all put out there. We appreciate it.
I am not going to ignore the platform upon which these gentlemen chose to go and give that interview. Obviously, you have a choice in platform, and that's fine. But there was something about that particular platform, and I'll leave it to the viewers to ascertain for themselves why they would have felt comfortable giving that interview in that space.
Well, we know that Brandon Tatum actually has ties to their families because he actually was at one point in time one of the urban what is it? One of the urban leaders or executives for one of their private what is it? Private what am I looking for? What's the word? Not private equity firms, private entities, essentially. I'm gonna fact check that and I'm gonna show y'all later on in this video. But Brandon working for them, he getting paid by them, essentially.
And you know, what I will say is that this is likely a forum that they felt was going to be friendly and comfortable and non-confrontational. As a former prosecutor, without any sort of aspersion or conclusion.
You're credible, sir, as a former prosecutor. Interesting. Let's hear your take.
Conclusion around guilt or innocence. What I will tell you is this, Don. It is never a good sign when someone starts asking, why wouldn't I have done this? Or why wouldn't I have done that? Or why would I do this? And leaves you to speculate, as opposed to just affirmatively saying, we did this because, and we did not do this because.
Exactly. They're saying these things, and with those interviews, with that whole soliloquy that I showed you from Jax and Warren, they're giving us all the information. They're defending themselves. When ain't nobody found y'all guilty, ain't nobody have any evidence against y'all at this point. But y'all can simply just answer the questions, cut and dry. But you going all this. You saying, oh, maybe, you know, if we really did kill him, why would we call the Coast Guard? Why would we just be sitting there with his body on the boat, just sitting there, everybody just sitting there around, just looking at him? Well, dog, no, but you raised some good questions. We didn't ask you that. Why would you just volunteer that? But now that you say that, interesting. We got to think about it. Always some truths and some lies. Some truth and some lies.
YZ. That is always a telltale sign that someone is desperately trying to get you to believe what it is that they are saying because they want you to speculate in a way that would have made sense as opposed to just saying, I would not have done this because. And it would not have made sense for me to do that because. We see it in everyday life in terms of storytelling and how people do. If you ever listen to someone who tries to say like, well, why wouldn't I have done this? There are 1,000,001 things that anyone could do in response to a situation, but coordinating a story and sitting there with potentially 3 other co-defendants as a means of putting this out to the court of public opinion may not necessarily be the smartest thing to do. I am very much so looking at that attorney askance, which is one of my favorite words, because you are showing yourself as a bit of an amateur in terms of your chops from a PR perspective. Now, your trial chops may be a different conversation, but you are on basically a public platform testifying for your own clients before they've even been indicted.
Thank you. Because if they truly didn't do anything wrong, if they truly had nothing to hide, why won't you just be quiet and let everything else play out? Let people talk. Because if you don't feed into the rumors and you just sit back and just let everything play out, then you won't have all this speculation. You won't have all these people coming at you. But y'all deciding to continue to talk. Are you trying to control the narrative? Are you trying to get in front of some things potentially? I'm just saying.
And I think that that's something that most attorneys are loath to do, let alone letting their own clients get out here and tell their stories. Now, again, it could be that they know that no indictment is coming because they've been given that information from the inside. Or another thought that occurred as I was watching this, Don, is this is a case that's drawn quite a bit of public scrutiny. If you are a defendant and you go into the grand jury, you are not guaranteed to be able to testify. You are not in control over what information the prosecution puts forward. So if you are trying to control the narrative before you get to the grand jury, this would be your opportunity to do so. I don't think it's a good way of doing it. I don't think it's a smart way of doing it in the long run. But that is to say that as people have been watching this all over the country, and as I'm sure that includes people who are in Mississippi, who are
Get to the point, sir. You're taking too long.
In Jackson County, this may be an opportunity to sort of poison the jury pool of grand jurors by getting your version out there, just in case someone who's watching that interview ends up on that grand jury, just in case someone who's watching.
Oh, so you mean to tell me that they're trying to potentially get ahead of some things? Potentially trying to get ahead, and maybe somebody somewhere, the grand jury, potentially. One of them are watching this video. One of them will potentially have empathy for us if things do happen to come down on us. Also, y'all trying to get in front of things. Interesting.
Watching that interview ends up in that jury box. This is a means of trying to get your narrative out, because you certainly won't do it in the grand jury because you're not in control of those proceedings. And then by the time you get to trial, who knows what other information you might be battling against. So from a PR perspective, it could be a preemptive strike for potential jurors or potential people in the jury pool, but it's still, for me, something that's ill-advised, because all of this could be used against you in a court of law.
Exactly. All of it can be used against you in a court of law. But the only reason that you would probably be doing this man. Interesting. Real quick. Let's switch gears for 2 seconds. For just 2 seconds. Because it's been reported. Leaked calls confronting Nolan Wells' friends released. We're going to play just a little bit of it, and then we're going to get back to this video.
Don't try and run now. Your son is a and he's about to get all the way. Don't run now. You guys are going to get what the coming to you. I know he killed that little kid, man. You guys aren't. Your wife ain't racist.
How can the father of somebody who murdered another person go and try to receive donations using the name of the murder victim? You know what you've done. I'm 22 years old. I'm just a bit older than your son, Warren. I can't believe that I live in a world with people like you and your son. I can't believe that I live in a world with evil, racist, white people who then go and falsely claim that they praise God while living racist, evil.
We ain't going to play it all, but those are some of the voice calls that these people are getting. And they leaked them. They put them out there. To everybody who making those phone calls, don't do it. To everybody who calling their family and harassing them, don't do it. Ain't no need to do none of that. Because God got something for all of them. Let it play out. They're going to get what's coming to them. Because it's too much evidence. This case is too loud. And this ain't going away. Somebody going to get convicted. Just saying. Next video. Oh, my bad, chat. My bad.
What has happened? Have you, what you think? Had things happen online, threats online? Have you guys have any examples of people accosting you or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we have had countless death threats online. Been spotted. I'll let you elaborate more on that. Being spotted.
I mean, people have obviously just pointed us out. I mean, as a group and even on a one-on-one setting, I think it's really just like awkward because I don't want to talk about this, and I know my friends don't want to talk about this any more than we need to. You know, we're still mourning one of our best friends' death, and it's hard to speak about it when, like sometimes we just need some alone time, or sometimes we just need to, lay back and not be around all this. And I mean, I've been called out.
We really don't want to talk about this, and so more than we need to, and so we're going to sit down with our attorneys and do an interview with a podcaster that has millions of subscribers, but we really don't want to talk about this.
With this, Charles, okay, so let's talk, because this is not, I don't think this is being critical of these young men. Perhaps maybe you view it that way. My view is that my view is the people who are the people who are advising them, the adults, the attorneys who are advising them to, it's just not a good idea, because they're saying we need some alone time, we need to mourn, but yet they're sitting in front of cameras with a far right wing.
Make sense. You saying y'all need to mourn? You saying that y'all need time to just take this all in? It's too much. But y'all sitting on a podcast, and yet y'all going back and forth to the island, talking about it, huh? But you say it's too much. But you say it's getting to you. Sir, I know y'all young. I'm older than y'all. And I get that, some people in your family might be telling you some of these things. But, sir, nobody told y'all to hop on these podcasts. Nobody told y'all to make any statements or say anything at all. Nobody said any of those things. You say you don't want to be harassed. You don't want all the attention, but sir, you're going on podcasts. You're talking about it on a public platform. Make it make sense. Let's continue.
Creator and their attorney who's dressed up as, I don't know. At first we thought he was we're like, who is this friend? He's not like in high school, is he? This is like an older friend or something. I mean, do you see what I'm saying?
Of course I do. And I think that, again, this is, the more I pay attention to this, the substance of what we are listening to is less relevant than the style of what is being presented, especially if you consider the fact
this was both for the lawyers that the family has hired. Instead of going into mourning, trying to mourn the best friend, trying to just, relax and not really, worry too much about this or that. Well, sir, why? Are y'all going on podcasts and visiting the island? And Warren, you visited the island multiple times at this point. Did y'all forget something on the island? Y'all forget something that maybe that's going to lead to maybe y'all going to jail? Y'all need to go pick something up? But what's the point? Anyway, continue.
That, again, there are potential jurors and potential members of the grand jury who might see this. They might see this and they might hear, there's obviously a certain degree of leading in terms of how these questions are being asked, which is why you should leave journalism to journalists and former policing to former police people. But when it comes to even the presentation by the attorney, look very closely. He described them as all-American guys who were courageous. And he's sitting there not dressed as an attorney, but dressed similar to what he described as being an all-American guy. This is what the all-American guys wear. I'm dressed similar to these all-American guys. I'm sending a message to the folks out here that these young men, these boys have been harassed, that they have been accosted, and you are, as the facilitator of this conversation, throwing me slow pitch, underhanded softballs so that we can ask these types of questions and elicit this type of information that makes them look like victims. Again,
Exactly. Because throughout this whole interview, y'all, I don't know if you watched it before. I know I'm just showing y'all clips of it. But throughout all of the interviews that they've done, from Brandon, what's his name? Tristan, his friend Tristan, Warren, his solo interview, and then now this interview. None of them feel bad about the family getting death threats. None of them feel bad about Nolan's mom having to defend her medical license because people are now saying that she's should be investigated. Come on now.
The only thing that I can think of is in hopes of drawing some level of sympathy within the court of public opinion such that we avoid an indictment. And if we can't avoid an indictment, ultimately we avoid a conviction. And we begin to shift the pendulum away from focusing on Nolan Wells and getting answers about what happened to him and centering these young white men as somehow victims in this situations, despite the fact that they can go home to their families and Nolan Wells' parents will never see his face again.
Crazy.
Okay, continue on, please, Andy.
Public. And I haven't been in public that much. I know my friends have had encounters in public. The threats
now,
have
pause.
been...
Back it up just a little bit if you can, Andy. Now, this is, again, he's asked...
I've been called out in public, and I haven't been in public that much. I know my friends have had encounters in public. The threats have been insane from, my stepmom and my dad, my mom, just everyone included, like even my brothers and my sisters. And it's just hard. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Dog, look at this man. Look at his body language. Look how he's sitting. Do he look like he really want to be on this podcast right now? He looked like somebody that's potentially being, I'm just saying, from my observation. He looked like somebody who potentially being forced to be there and somebody who's carrying a burden and a secret that he just don't want to carry. Because he's really deep in thought. Like, damn. Can't believe he really trying to cover this up. Can't believe that really happened to Nolan. Damn. Look at his face.
Where like this has been taken to and the level where this is at.
When you say you've been called out in public,
He just seemed like he distraught about something. Were you ready to be on camera, my good sir?
you give me an example of like, what do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, not allowing you, denying you service? Because I heard that Tristan, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy a Gatorade.
I wouldn't have let him buy a Gatorade or a Red Bull or a Snicker. I wouldn't let him buy anything if it was my store. Just Tristan. Everybody else, but Tristan, boy, you're a little different.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, anything, but like Tristan, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before work and having to, like, he calls me, he's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, push back and say these things when they know what.
Yeah, people pushing back because what y'all putting out, it's not making sense. It's not adding up. That's why people pushing back.
Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal encounters, but I know being around the guys and stuff like that, they have. So,
Charles?
So an 18-year-old black boy is dead, and you want to talk about not being able to buy Gatorade and being questioned at Walmart.
A black friend. They were talking secondhand from their black friend who's the one who's being denied service, allegedly.
I do want to point out, right? There is a scintilla of grace that I do want to extend to these young men in this situation, in as much as they may be the victims of very, very bad advice.
Right.
The person doing the interview is clearly feeding things to them as part of questions to elicit certain answers.
Exactly. He definitely is. But now we're done with that video. We're going to go back to the ending because they have a good update that I want to show y'all. But we're going to hit a few more videos before we get up out of here. But y'all, I started off this video raising a lot of questions I didn't even have to do with the CETO call. I started off this video showing you just examples. A few of them. A few examples about what I saw with this whole ordeal and this whole story. Because just a few examples, they raised a lot of questions. And those examples that raise questions is public information, not doctored, not altered in any way. Just saying. Can we get into the next video, please, production? Yes, I appreciate it.
There's like a motive. There's a reason why someone did X, Y, Z. From your viewpoint, your personal belief, what will be the motive? Why do you think we no longer have Nolan with us?
There could be several things at play here. It could have been alcohol and drug-induced rage. And sometimes people become a different version of themselves once they have been drinking or intoxicated or ingested certain illegal substances. So something could have happened that people got out of their minds and reacted violently towards Nolan. There's also been other suspicious things around the country. We do know that the Carmelo Anthony situation with Austin Metcalf in Texas was very controversial. And some people believe that this may have been payback for Carmelo killing Austin Metcalf. And so that would be a motive if that line of thinking has to be looked into, because we do know that not only did Nolan come up missing on July the 4th, but there are other people that came up missing around similar timeline and with similar demographics as Nolan. And so we do know that neo-Nazis, neo-Confederates are on the rise in America, and now it's cool again to be openly racist. And that's pretty sad. And so we have to look at all potential motives, not just one or two. It could have been accidental. It could have been something that was local to Horn Island, or it could have been something more sinister that was payback for something that happened in Texas or similar.
And that's true. Those are questions that people rise that could be true. And we're going to get right back to that.
Back to Christine and her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Edward. So who's talking now is a lawyer. This guy. They're not showing his face, but this is a guy that's talking, not him. But you can see this is a picture of them going back to the island. Why are they taking goddamn photo shoots and action shots on an island where their best friend was found dead and missing? No evidence has been put out by the sheriff's department. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been indicted. The autopsy hasn't even been released by the state. But why y'all continue to go back to the island where this man lost his life? Doing photo ops. What you trying to get in front of?
Go ahead. I'll just add something. And again, this is why you have to be on the ground there or in the water. When I went to the island, when I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity, on Friday.
Okay, so let me just say here,
One of the things
he goes on to say that you get off the boat and you have to swim 50 or 100 feet in, and that it's not something that people usually want to take their cell phones, and he explains that. Okay, so basically what they're saying is they don't believe that the family has turned over the cell phone. I'm going to put this up. This is from.
So basically, the lawyers was making up, and the lawyers came out. Their lawyers, specifically Bart's lawyer, came out and said, I know, and I'll bet my career on it, that Nolan Wells' family hasn't been cooperating. They haven't even given the sheriff's department Nolan Wells' phone to investigate. Well, in fact, they reached out to the Jackson County's Sheriff's Department multiple times and have gotten no response. Let's dive into it a little bit more.
Ben Crump's office, they sent this over and they said, August 11, 2026, Angel Myers McElray, Office of the District Attorney in 19th Circuit District, 3104 Magnolia Street, Pascagoula, Mississippi, 39568. Okay, Nolan Wells. Dear Ms. McElworth, please be advised that A.R. Smith Law, PLLC, has been retained to serve as local counsel for the estate and family of Nolan Wells. Moving forward, I will be working alongside the legal team at Ben Crump Law in representing our clients in addressing matters arising from Mr. Wells' death. As the legal team has stated previously, including during our in-person meeting with the Wells family and counsel, we have been and remain ready and willing to cooperate in arranging a joint forensic inspection of Nolan Wells' personal cell phone. During that meeting, we specifically discussed having the examination conducted through the digital forensics lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as the possibility of FBI involvement in that process. Our position has not changed. We are prepared to coordinate a mutually agreeable date and procedure for the examination of the phone. Accordingly, to the extent there has been any suggestion that we have been unwilling or have failed to cooperate with the investigation, we want to make clear that this is not the case. You also previously indicated that Dr. Mitchell would be provided an opportunity to review the materials necessary for him to complete his autopsy review. We remain prepared to facilitate that process. Please provide us with any available dates and times for Dr. Mitchell to review those materials, along with any instructions necessary to arrange his access. We would like to move both of these matters forward promptly and remain available to coordinate with your office. Very truly yours, Ahmad R. Smith, A.R. Smith, Law, PLCC, and it is dated, I think that is today, right? August 11th, 2026. That is the new information.
So with that new information, Ben Crump's team, they've been trying to work with Jackson's Sheriff's Department. Jackson Sheriff's Department is moving their feet at a snail's pace. To be quite honest with you, it looks like they can care less. Because this was supposed to happen a long time ago, but they never reached back out to Ben Crump's team. And on top of not reaching back out to Ben Crump's team, supposedly the good source that the other side, so the white boys' family, they've been told by good sources or people that they know that they can bet their money on it, that Ben Crump and his team have not been cooperating. And that's why Ben Crump sent this statement, because they said, we've been waiting to hear back from y'all. And we just want to reiterate the fact that we're willing to cooperate. So Ben Crump, I'm going to drop a bomb for you. They tried it.
Mr. Attorney, what say you?
You know, Dom, what this sounds like to me, when you have a young man who doesn't have much of a reputation because they are so young, but yet they're willing to bet their reputation that the authorities haven't received the cell phone and so on and so forth. It sounds like to me that they have a lot of information from law enforcement that the public doesn't have. When you can speak so confidently about what you believe in terms of the level of cooperation from Nolan Wells' family and their attorney, so much so that there is a need for clarification from Nolan Wells' attorneys and legal teams around what they are willing to do and what they have been willing to do. That sounds to me like someone has been giving them a lot of information from the inside.
Woo! So they're getting information from the inside. That's what it sounds like. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It just might be a goddamn duck. Right, chat? Just saying. Just saying. Because if they get some of this information, if you willing to bet your career on these young boys, who's been telling you some of this information? Must be somebody in the sheriff's department or in the sheriff's office. Must be somebody from the DA department, potentially, if you're willing to bet that. And if you made Ben Crump's team release this. So y'all mean to tell me y'all getting a lot of inside information up over there? That's why y'all doing all these podcast interviews. That's why you're going back and forth the whole line. That's why you trying to get in front of this thing before indictments potentially start coming down. Potentially. Before people start getting arrested. Potentially. Before a real investigation gets underway. A real one. Not a fake, a play. But let's continue.
That they have been keeping quiet from the public, because those types of estimations and bold proclamations and around, I bet my reputation on it, sounds a little bit overconfident that you've been getting some information about what the authorities do and don't have, which to me goes back to what I've been saying for a while now, which is this drought of information from the authorities is beginning to be more and more and more of a concern when you're talking about transparency and objectivity for a process that's supposed to have integrity.
Facts.
I started my podcast with zero tech skills.
Oh, we don't care how you started it, my guy. We don't. But chat, don't he make a good point? Don't he make a good point? If you're willing to bet and make such a bold statement, I bet my career on it that they haven't been cooperating or they haven't turned over that phone. Interesting. But really, they just waiting to hit back from Jackson. They just waiting for Jackson County to do his job and update the attorney of the family. And the family themselves. Interesting. Oh, hold on, chat. My bad.
Ms. Moange.
The drought of information keeps coming back to me because ultimately we know that if you're strategic about it and you're putting out your information in a way that you know it's going to be amplified, you're more likely to get that version of the story shared, repeated, and we know how that ends up affecting the judicial process down the line. So from the outside, that's just how it looks, right?
Yeah. No, Charles, I just want to say, when I said, I looked at the date on this because I would assume, this is me, that they are responding directly to this allegation that they have not turned over the phone, that they're somehow hesitant to turning over the phone. And it appears here from this writing and this letter that is indeed not the case. They're working on a process to have the phone forensically examined by experts, which are, I believe, would be a third party that is independent and also an authority that can go through the phone and preserve some of the things that should be preserved and only look at the things that need to be looked at to find information. I think that is common in legal practice, and having someone have my phone, I certainly would know about what's happening here. It's not as easy as people think, first, to get into a cell phone, and number two, to be able to get the information from it, whether you're with the government or a private law firm or private investigator. It's not as
easy as it looks. That's basically what he was going to say. But they made some good points. And what he's saying is true and factual. He's correct. He is correct. Because at the end of the day, dog, it's a little too much going on for my liking. It's a little too much going on for my liking. I would not lie to you. I wouldn't. But that's the thing. We're going to see how all this plays out. We're going to see how all this shakes out. Now, let's hear one more word, last word from the judge. And then I'm going to show you one more interesting topic or one more interesting thing with this case. And then we're going to call it a night. How about that, chat? We almost there. If you say it in, if you tune in for this long, hit that like button, show me some love. Hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the next video.
From a professional perspective, is that audio enough to where arrest could have been made, even off a suspicion of what we were thinking we were hearing? Is that enough?
Coupled with other things, I think it's enough for an arrest warrant to be made at this time. I would feel comfortable knowing all the things that I know. If the law enforcement presented me a certain name or names of people that they wanted to be arrested for certain crimes, and they laid it all out as I've understood it from the publicly disclosed information, I would not have a problem at this point signing arrest warrant or arrest warrants.
And then what happens if we got it wrong? It's just, is there like any repercussions from that person? I mean, what's the risk of just locking somebody up off the conditions that you just mentioned?
It happens all the time. I mean, there's no real risk, no repercussions to the judge or the prosecutor. The law enforcement, they do their job and they do the best they can. The judge would have found probable cause to sign the arrest warrant. Judges have judicial immunity, so you can't be sued or successfully for signing an arrest warrant. So there's no risk to the judge. Most prosecutors have prosecutorial immunity. So, I mean, they do it all the time. Law enforcement has qualified immunity. And so what we do know is, had the roles been reversed, the black guys that came back to land would have probably been arrested within 24 hours.
Of course. You know, one thing that you kind of led with that I think a lot of people heard or felt and appreciated was you calling out how things were not moving according to how they normally would, with a potential cover-up from a local law enforcement level. Don't know if you can say that, but ideally, do you think a cover-up was taking place at some point along the way?
I believe there are a lot of suspicious things that have occurred in this case from the very beginning. Since Nolan went missing, Ashley Cole, by her own admission, deactivated her Facebook account or her social media accounts. She says it was because of she wanted to protect her young children, but who was threatening? We
didn't even know you, I think, at that point.
Yeah. So on July the 4th, no one had in mind about threatening her children. So why would you assume that they would have been threatened just because someone allegedly drowned on Horn Island? That's not.
Exactly. Because Miss Ashley Cole, the judge, she was quick to release that statement, chat. She was quick to say, hey, I don't want my family to have anything to do with this. Nobody was blaming you. Nobody knew too much information about anything. But you was quick to release that statement. You was quick to jump in front of it. You was quick to give your son an alibi. Interesting.
A safe assumption. It had to be something more to it. And for those boys to lawyer up, they have a right to lawyer up, but as I told someone, if my family member came to me about something that happened on Horn Island and recounted it to me, as a lawyer, a trained lawyer, I'm going to listen to the facts. I'm not going to advise them to lawyer up if I don't think they committed a crime. You only advise someone to lawyer up if they potentially committed a crime. If you just was a witness to somebody drowning, you can be a witness and testify and recount that freely with no risk of going to prison. So that tells me that something may have gone awry there that could have had some criminal culpability for one or more persons for them, if it's true that those boys lawyered up on July the 4th, July the 5th. And then for the boys to eat together, be seen together on July the 5th eating breakfast at a restaurant instead of being out there with people searching for their friend or best friend. That's not normal circumstances. I mean, if any of my boys were missing and I was one of the last ones to be seen with them, I'm going to be out there with the family trying to show them where we were hanging out or where we were and trying to help find them. I'm not going to be having breakfast at IHOP or Waffle House or anywhere else for that matter.
I wonder how much is that of them being guilty of something or just showing their true colors of maybe how they felt about him. You know?
A little bit of both.
I don't understand. I mean, instead of going to the funeral, I believe Warren was talking to Officer Tatum on the day of the funeral, being interviewed, and he allegedly was still calling him his best friend. So I don't see how you could not be concerned about your best friend and not out there trying to find him. And I also don't understand why the father said he couldn't find a boat the night of. He says that he didn't have friends with boats, but if your son had friends with boats, they should have gone back out that same night at midnight and started searching for the guy. They didn't offer the boats that night. I'm understanding that they were
that kind of broke me. They kind of hurt a little bit to be like, I would have went out, but I ain't got no friends with boats.
Correct. And so, but you know, your son had friends with boats because he was out there. That's how he got out there on a boat.
So dad already was not rocking with him based off how he had to get the keys and all that. He said that in multiple interviews. Once you kind of show me that, you know, you can't be trusted, you seem like you're lying, then why do you think no one has been at least apprehended under suspicion at least?
His dad didn't actually say all that, but he interpreted that. So just throwing that out there.
Everyone's getting interviews, but no one's really.
Yeah, I just think it's because in Mississippi, a lot of the times race plays a factor, and then a lot of times your socioeconomic status based on who you are, your parents are. And we have some very prominent people, at least appearance-wise. I believe there are maybe a dentist and an emergency room doctor, a pain doctor, a judge. And so parents of some of these boys that were last seen with Nolan, his alleged friends, are pretty powerful or influential or relatively wealthy individuals in that county.
Now, one of the theories that I have in terms of Nolan's passing, I assume that he might have been pushed off of a boat. That feels like that can be able to fill in.
All right, we appreciate you getting the judge opinion, but we really don't care about your opinion, my guy. But we appreciate you. Now let's get to my guy for the last video of the night. Well, actually, we got one more video because I want to touch on Daniel Irvin, and we're going to have Dr. Umar's thoughts on both cases. On this Nolan Wells case, so we're going to stay on Nolan Wells for about 5 to 10 more minutes. And then we're going to get to Daniel Irvin. Because Daniel Irvin's case, I want to put a spotlight tonight on that case as well. Just a small spotlight. But Dr. Umar, I ain't heard from you in a minute. I must hear what you got to say about this case. Got to.
I got a couple questions for Warren and his white friends. Nolan's best friend, and Warren even called Nolan his brother, Art.
Yeah.
He even called him his brother.
He did.
He said they spent the night together before they went out to White Devil's Horn Island, Art. The night before, July 3rd, they stayed in the same home.
They did. Oh, Dr.
How do you stay in the same home with somebody, Art, and leave them on an island? How do you sleep in the same house with somebody July 3rd and then leave them on an island July 4th? But I got a few questions for Warren. No disrespect. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you could sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Kuhn, I need you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. So you can sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Kuhn, I want you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. My first question to Warren. You said that Nolan is a best friend of yours, that he's like a brother.
Yeah, he did.
I have a question. If Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on that island, especially when you all were drinking? Because somebody put a report out there, Art, that Nolan had been drinking heavily and was intoxicated. Of course, that allegation was dismissed because the coach who contacted Sister Christine, confirmed that he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30, and Nolan was not intoxicated. So they lied to protect their friends, because white people are always on code, Art. Not a single white person on that island dropped a dime yet. Not one of them. So anyway, Art,
Yeah.
they tried to blame it on him being drunk. So he was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. That's the narrative they wanted us to swallow. He was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. And remember, Art, Sheriff Ledbetter allegedly ruled the case an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. He ruled Nolan's death an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. But stand with Warren, Art. Warren, if Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on an island without his cell phone and his keys? Why did you take his cell phone and keys back to the mainland? You left him there and took his cell phone and keys back. Can you please explain?
Dr. Umar, you got that wrong, though. His keys, remember, you just said it. His keys make sense that they were still at his friend's house. You ain't going to bring your keys out there on the boat, especially if you still staying with your friend. If you still staying with your friend, you just spent the night before, you ain't going to probably take your keys with you. So the keys being at the house, we gonna let that breathe. But that phone being at the house, or that phone being with them, period, that's when we got to raise a question, Dr. Umar.
Explain that to me. What person wants to be on an island without their phone? Help me understand that, Warren. I don't know of an 18-year-old who wants to be anywhere without their phone, Art. They don't want to be in school without their phone. They don't want to be at home without their phone. They don't want to be out of town without their phone. They don't want to be at the mall, the movies, the restaurant. They don't want to be nowhere without their phone, let alone on an island with no way to get off. You left your best friend on an island.
Just think about that, y'all. This ain't no question that you ask just for fun. If you're stranded on an island and you can only bring 3 things, what would you bring? Just saying. Just saying.
And your so-called brother, you left him on an island with no way to get off, and you took his phone and his keys. Can you explain that to me, Warren? While you're thinking about it, I got another question for you, Warren, while you're thinking about it. You said at 11 o'clock, you called Miss Christine to see if she heard from her son. Warren said, Art, I called Miss Christine to see if she heard from Nolan.
He said it multiple times. She
said she had not heard from Nolan. Can I ask you a question, Warren? If you took his phone, how in the hell was his mother supposed to hear from her son when you have the son's phone? Did you tell Miss Christine that you had her son's phone when you called her? I bet you didn't. Think about that, Art. He called the mother and asked her if she heard from her son. But he knows she didn't hear from her son, Art, because he has her son's phone. How can the mother hear from Nolan when you have Nolan's cell phone and you left him on an island? And I bet you didn't tell her you had his phone. Because if she knew you had his phone, Art, she would not have had to use Life 360 to find the phone. If you had his phone and you called her at 11 o'clock to see if Nolan was okay, why didn't you tell Nolan's mom you had his phone? Why did my sister Christine and my sister Tashima have to use Life 360 to find their son's phone? Because you playing games. You playing in our face like we stupid. That's what this is. I don't know if he did it, Art, but he damn sure knows who do. I allege and I believe that all 30 of those white kids on all 3 of them boats know exactly which one of them did it, and the rest of them are covering it up. And guess what, Warren? And the rest of you 30 white kids on those 3 boats, let me explain something to you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody didn't tell you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody told you. Guess what? The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, you can go to jail for up to 30 years.
And we're going to leave it right there. But he raised some good points, didn't he, Chad? I dropped all them bombs for a reason. Because, once again, we're not making up any evidence. We're not saying anything that can be speculated. We're just stating the obvious and talking about the obvious that is out there. We're just bringing up things that's out there in the public that kind of can't really be refuted. Can't really be refuted. I'm just saying. Dr. Umar, I appreciate you, big dog. But I need you for one more segment. I need you one more again, Dr. Umar. One more again, Dr. Umar. Talk to him.
Another question I have for Warren.
Talk to him.
You said you and Nolan been friends since 8th grade. Since 8th grade, Art.
He said it.
But Sister Christine says she don't know none of them kids really, Art. She don't know them white kids.
Whoa.
So help me understand how you are Nolan's best friend, friends since 8th grade. You called him your brother. Y'all spent the night together July the 3rd, the morning before y'all went to White Devil's Horn Island. And his mother don't even know who you are. And you said out your own mouth that y'all never hung out at Nolan's house. So how are y'all best friends? I had best friends growing up, Art.
He said it.
My mother knew who they were. Who has a best friend that they mom don't know about? Help me understand that. A best friend and the mom don't know him, it sounds suspicious. Why didn't you tell Miss Christine you had her son's cell phone when you called and asked if she heard from him? Art, as far as I'm concerned, there's probable cause he had something to do with this. Art, I'm holding her son's cell phone. I left him on the island. I took his keys and phone. And I'm on the phone with the mom. I got his phone,
not the keys,
but I'm calling his mother at 11 o'clock. Have you heard from your son? And I'm holding her son's cell phone, and I don't even tell her. Art, this ain't making no sense. This ain't making no sense. And I want to know from Sheriff John Ledbetter, Art, Jackson County Sheriff, you don't have probable cause just off of that alone? Somebody calls somebody's mom asking if she heard from him while they have their phone and left him stranded on the island. And if you care so much about Nolan, Art, if he cares so much about Nolan, the so-called white best friend, Art, why did you wait till 11 o'clock? Y'all left the island for 4:30. Y'all left the island for 4:30.
4:30 to be exact, Dr. Umar. 4:30. And y'all know y'all got Nolan's phone. So if you left the island at 4:30, you know he got his phone. Why are you waiting until 11 o'clock to figure out what Nolan at?
If you care so much about Nolan, why are you not calling his mother until 11 o'clock? It's pitch black outside at 11 o'clock, Art. It's pitch black. It's almost midnight, and you wait till 11 o'clock to call his mom and ask her if she heard from her son, but he's supposed to be your brother and best friend. Listen here, Warren. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. And then I have a question for his dad too, Art.
Last question.
I don't know if you know this, but his dad has started an online fundraising platform
No.
for Warren and 2 of his friends.
No.
I think they raised $160,000 so far.
What?
$160,000. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has received a warrant. Nobody has been indicted. Nobody has been charged. Art, if you are innocent, why are you raising money online? You ain't been charged with a crime at all. The state of Mississippi is doing everything they can to make sure y'all don't get charged with anything. So why are you raising money online? Why did y'all cancel your social media? Why are y'all lawyering up? They hired Donald Trump's lawyer, Art. One of Donald Trump's lawyers is now the three of their lawyers. If you innocent, what you need Donald Trump's lawyer for? If you're innocent, what you raising $160,000 for? It sounds like y'all getting ready to defend yourselves. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like y'all think the truth is going to get out really, really soon, and y'all want to be prepared for it. Again, Art, I'm not saying he...
I think you hit it on the money, Dr. Umar. Hey, Chad, if you didn't stay here for this long, you see how I wrap it up in a nice little bow for you? You see how I brought it all the way back for you? So if you've been watching all this time, please hit that like button. Please drop a comment or two, because we just wrapped this whole thing up in a nice little bow. But Dr. Umar, I'm going to let you finish.
He did it, but I definitely believe he knows who do.
Yeah. We ain't saying he did it. We ain't saying none of them did it. But we saying somebody knows something. Because something's not adding up. It's something not clean in the milk. Just saying. Now, with that being said, Dr. Umar, I'm going to need you for one more story. Dr. Umar, you did such a wonderful, 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 wonderful job. Such a wonderful, 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 wonderful job with that. I'm going to need you to talk about this Daniel Irvin story for me. I'm going to need you to update my people on this Daniel Irvin story. All right? I appreciate you in advance, but my people need to know a little bit more about Daniel Irvin. All right? I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. So if you don't know about Daniel Irvin also passed away on the 4th of July. Daniel Irvin passed away on the 4th of July from allegedly a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and it was supposedly from everyone who was around him playing Russian roulette. Yeah, you heard me. They was playing Russian roulette. Yeah. And with that story in particular, it's sad, man. It's sad. And with the Daniel Irvin case, it was only given a spotlight because the Wells family kind of lent them the spotlight. They was kind enough and nice enough to give them the platform to show love to them. Because what happened with this Daniel Irvin's case, it's kind of wild if you ask me. So real quick, we're going to get a spotlight to Daniel Irvin. And then we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. But the Nolan Wells case, I think we might have. We didn't solve it, but we got closer to the answers. Promise you that.
We have a major break tonight to tell you about in the death of a North Texas teen. It was supposed to be a fun day of fishing for 3 young men at Lake Ray Hubbard. Instead, it turned deadly after the group jumped in to swim, and 18-year-old Daniel Irving never resurfaced. Now, months later, police have arrested a 19-year-old they say tried to cover up and hide what actually happened that day. Fox 4's Alex Boyer picks up our top story from there.
According to Dallas police, text messages prove that the victim and suspect knew each other and had made plans to meet up and go to a lake back in April. Now, the victim, Daniel Irving, never came home. His mom reported him missing. It wasn't until nearly 3 months after his body was recovered that police have made an arrest in connection to the case. 19-year-old Lucas Roper is accused of tampering with evidence in connection to the drowning death of 18-year-old Daniel Irving in Lake Ray Hubbard back in April. Irving's body was discovered on April 17th, 4 days after he is believed to have drowned. Irving had reportedly gone to the lake with Roper and a juvenile suspect to swim and go fishing. Days after his body was recovered, Irving's family held this news conference demanding answers.
What do we want? Justice for Daniel Irving. When do we want it? Now.
Irving's family said then that they wanted a full and transparent investigation. On July 9th, Roper was arrested by Dallas police on one count of tampering with physical evidence. According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Roper was interviewed by detectives after Irving's body was found. Roper told police after the three of them had jumped into the lake from the railroad track bridge, Irving drowned and Roper panicked. Instead of calling 911, the affidavit states Roper told investigators he deleted all communication with Daniel Irving from his cell phone, adding that Roper confirmed he was aware that there would be an investigation into Daniel Irving's death and he did not want to get into trouble, and states Roper threw Daniel Irving's clothes in the tree line as they fled the location. The juvenile suspect also told investigators he admitted he threw Daniel Irving's cell phone from the vehicle after suspect Roper told him to.
We, the family, are deeply inclined these individuals intended on no one looking for Daniel. Fighting for Daniel, advocating for Daniel.
Irving's siblings said his young life was full of promise.
He had just begun his recruitment to the U.S. Army. He was trained with discipline. He carried himself with a purpose. He believed in building a life of service.
This has been tough on our family. Daniel was our protector, and I have nothing but good things to say about him. He was a good kid, and he just didn't deserve that.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit about Daniel Irving in his case. But with the Daniel Irving case in particular, they deserve answers. They deserve answers as well. You just heard everything that's involved in and going on with that case in particular. That case in particular, dog, that one's kind of crazier than the Nolan Wells case. Because they intentionally deleted the messages. They intentionally got rid of his clothes. They intentionally deigned to put themselves within the crime. They wasn't smart enough to cover it up, even though they tried. But then a couple days later, they retracted. It said, yep, we had something to do with it. But he just drowned. But his mom said something else.
As a mother, I knew something was wrong on day one.
The death of an 18-year-old who drowned in a lake 3 months ago is being called into question as two teens who were with him have been charged with evidence tampering. Daniel Irving drowned at Lake Ray Hubbard, about 15 miles from downtown Dallas, in April. An attorney for the family says the circumstances in his death don't, quote, add up, citing that Irving was on the honor roll and a member of the swim team.
So just imagine, as a mother or a parent, calling someone to help you save your child, and they hang up the telephone in your face.
The new details in the Irving case are drawing comparisons to that of 18-year-old Nolan Wells, who died following a 4th of July boat trip off the coast of Mississippi. According to an affidavit, 19-year-old Lucas Roper and another teen are accused of throwing out Irving's clothes and driving away from the scene, KTVT reported. It also said the two suspects were aware of the drowning, panicked, and fled the scene. They have not been charged with the death of Irving.
Two young white men come to his house to pick him up, and they go fishing, swimming, and then they come back. But yet, Daniel doesn't.
The family's attorney said the family is launching an independent investigation.
We say justice for Daniel Irving. Justice for Daniel Irving.
The Dallas Police Department said, quote, this was a tragic incident that resulted in the death of a young person. The medical examiner determined Daniel Irving's cause of death was drowning, and the manner of death was ruled accidental.
Such a coincidence, ain't it? So, Justice for Nolan Wells and also justice for Daniel Irvin. I brought both of these cases to the forefront because I would just want y'all to know that any life that's lost, whether it's black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Indian, it don't make a difference to me. It's a life lost. It's a soul that's not here on this body, on this planet. And then a young soul with young people not even having a chance to live their lives fully because it was taken away from them, potentially by accident or potentially by foul play. Regardless, it doesn't make a difference. It's a young person losing their lives. It's a young person who's not here. It's a family having to mourn a young person. No family should have to bury their child. Their child should eventually have to bury them. No parent should have to bury their child because their child should eventually bury them. That's the natural progression of how life works. That's the natural progression of the human ecosystem. So with that being said, I just want to see justice for everybody and for those families. We will continue to talk about the Nolan Wells case. We will continue to talk about the Daniel Irvin case until both cases get resolved and both cases get answers. God bless those families, and may God bring those families peace eventually, and may both those families find justice. But y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you. We live in a crazy world. Before you get out of here, though, please do me a favor. Please do me this one favor. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And please, 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 please send us to your mommy, your daddy, your best friend, friend of another friend, Lit Johnny, Lit Timmy. Don't forget Lit Susie, too. Lit Susie need these gems. And don't forget about Lit Josh. You know, Lit Josh, he just moved across the street from Lit Susie. So if he just moved across the street from Lit Susie, you know he's new on the block. And he got to get these gems as well. So send these gems to everybody. Please. Everybody. Seriously. Send it to everybody. But chat, there you have it. Update for Nolan Wells. Small update for Daniel Irvin. And if I'm being honest, if I'm really being honest, I probably should give Daniel Irvin a little bit more spotlight. How y'all feeling, chat? How we feeling in the chat? Should I give Daniel Irvin a little bit more spotlight? Because Dr. Umar said a few words about Daniel Irvin. And I wasn't going to really get into it, but you know what? We're going to play this last video, then we're going to get up out of here. Because Dr. Umar, I believe, he has some good things, or not good things. He has some preview questions that I think need to be answered potentially. Oh, hold on.
When I was talking to Big Crump, he was telling me about a guy named Daniel Irvin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You had two cases. You had Daniel Irving, 18 years old in Texas, and you had Daryl Martinez Lowry, 13 years old in South Carolina. Situations are similar, but very different. With Daniel Irving, 18 years old in the Dallas, Texas area, he goes out with two white kids. They allegedly jump from a bridge into a lake down in Texas. And he drowns in the water, Art. He drowns. To my knowledge, there's no witnesses. After he drowns, the two white kids, I believe they were both Caucasian, they throw away his clothes. They throw away his cell phone.
Websites your competitors don't want you to know.
See, that's a sign, chat. That's a sign we probably don't need to watch it. That's crazy. That's crazy. Nah, I'm kidding, chat. We gonna finish watching it, though. YouTube trying to play with us. We gonna finish watching the chat. We ain't gonna get up out of here. Not just yet. My bad.
Got arrested, I believe, in Daniel. He went missing and they delete all social media communication between themselves and Daniel Irving. He went missing April the 13th. They found Daniel on April the 17th. They finally arrested the 19-year-old involved in the situation. He just got arrested, I believe, the first week of July. Okay, maybe July 9th, July 7th, July 9th. But it took from April all the way to July for him to be arrested. And check this out, Art. They were not even arrested for murder. They were arrested for tampering with physical evidence. 3rd-degree felony. Think about that now. Y'all drown this black boy. Because, Art, if they didn't drown him, why would you throw his clothes away? If you didn't drown him, why would you throw his cell phone away? If you didn't drown him, why did you delete all of your social media? Why did you delete it? Right? Because y'all were guilty. Y'all either let them drown or y'all drowned them. I think they drowned them, Art, because there was no need to hide. If somebody drowns, Art, you call the police. Our friend drowned. We tried to save him. We're so sorry. Instead of doing that, Art, they just disappear. They just disappear. His body gets found April 17th. They don't get arrested until this month. Or should I say July, because we're in August now. Absolutely unacceptable. And they're only being charged with a 3rd-degree felony, Art, tampering with physical evidence. They're not even going to be charged with murder. You know why? Because there was no witness there. Now, you know if this was reverse, Art. If a white kid drowned and 2 black kids were there, and 2 black kids threw away their cell phone, and 2 black kids threw away their clothing, and 2 black kids deleted all social media communication between the 2 of them, you know they going down for 1st-degree murder. You know it. It ain't even nothing to think about. But because the victim is black and the perpetrators are white, they only going to get a 3rd-degree felony, Art. And then we had the case of the 13-year-old brother who was stabbed and drowned in South Carolina, Daryl Martinez Lowry.
I don't know too much about this story, but we're going to let him go for a little bit. But SO to Daryl Lowry. All right. We're going to let him go for like 2 more minutes chat, then we'll get up out of here.
Daryl Martinez, 13 years old. Art, listen to this. He was in the custody of his foster parent. His foster parent was a county official. His foster parent was a county chairman who was sleeping inside of the lake house while these 3 teenagers was out on the lake, Art. First of all, a 13-year-old boy don't have no business hanging out with a 16 and 17-year-old boy, not alone. He was only 13, Art. He was a baby. These other 2 white kids, I believe they were both Caucasian, were 16 and 17. They get into a fight at the water, Art. They get into a fight. This happened July 20th. This happened July 20th. Same date Ryan Clark was fired from ESPN. July 20th, get into a fight at the lake.
No correlation, I see.
17 and 16-year-old white boy. Guess what they do to this 13-year-old baby, Art? They stab him, and then they hold him under the water until he drowns.
There is no excuse why you cannot succeed as a real estate.
Dog, it is an excuse why I can't succeed as a real estate agent because I don't want to be one. Dog, come on, man. You two, don't be doing me like this. Y'all not paying me enough for that. Shoot, barely paying me at all. You're really not. Man, play with me again, YouTube. My bad, chat. Oh, somebody getting fired today. It might be me.
Stabbed him. He's only 13, Art. He's a baby. You 17, you almost a grown man. The other kid, 16, they stabbed Daryl Martinez Lowry, Art, holding under the water until he dies.
That's so sad.
I think the 17-year-old might get charged as an adult. He should. Of course, the juvenile in Daryl Martinez Lowry's case, as well as the juvenile in Daniel Irvin's case, we don't know what's going to happen with them because they juveniles. And if they Caucasian, I doubt if they get charged as adults. But Art, we got to stop letting our children think it's safe to go play with white kids, man. You know my position, all white people are racist. You know my position, you don't have a white friend.
You see, and right there, I'm going to just cut it off. But Dr. Umar, we'll appreciate your messenger tonight. Some of it. Not all of it. Not all of it. But I'm saying all that to say that not all white people are racist. Not all black people are racist. Not all just one race is racist. But historically, if we're talking about just the history in America, it's a little different. But on that note, chat, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you coming back. And I appreciate you showing me some love. We learned about Daniel Irvin a little bit more. We, of course, talked about Nolan Wells, and I wrapped it up in a nice little bow for you. And Dr. Umar even came in and brushed us up with a little information about my guy Ruiz. I don't know too much about that story, but he shined a little light on it. We might even get into that one. I'm going to have to do my research. But, Chad, I appreciate you. Chat, I'm grateful for you. Thank you guys for always coming back, and thank you for always tuning in and showing some love. Go back and watch this whole video because I want you to understand with that Nolan Wells case, I brought it all the way around. We hit on all the little details about that case. We hit on all the little topics here from multiple different people. Some former prosecutors, some current lawyers, some former judges. I let everybody talk to you because I'm not going to lie to you. I would not lie to you. Dog. Yeah. Unbiased opinion. Anytime you come here. So, yes, we're going to keep on talking about Nolan Wells. We're going to keep on talking about Daniel Irvin. And we're going to keep on pushing to get answers and justice for all these families involved. Because no family should have to bury their kid and be left without answers. So, Chad, I thank you for coming back, and I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for always showing me love. I truly, truly appreciate you. I truly, truly am thankful for you. God bless you. Thank you for always showing me love. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And once again, make sure you send this to everybody, including your mama, your daddy, your best friend of another friend, little Johnny, little Timmy. Don't forget about little Susie, too. Make sure you send this to little Susie. And then make sure you also send this to little Josh, because Josh just moved across the street from little Susie. And you know he needs these gems, too. Stop keeping all these gems to yourself. It's not good. All right, don't be selfish. But on that note, Chad, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm thankful for you. And guess what? We out. Until next time. Deuces.
Hey, we live now, really.